Senator Hawley, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to both of you for your service. Thank you for being here. General Fenton, if I could start with you. It was good to see you the other day. Enjoyed our conversation. One of the things we talked about was that after 20 years of a focus on CT, counterterrorism, SOF's #1 priority now has to shift to deterring China. Am I remembering that correctly? Does that sound right to you?
Senator, you are remembering correctly that my perspective to you was aligned with the NDS. China's a pacing challenge. Rust is the acute threat, and then persistent threats of CT and Iran and North Korea are the focus.
Very good. Let me ask you about the pacing challenge and also our pacing scenario and our pacing theater. The pacing scenario being China's threat to Taiwan. You and I talked some about this. Admiral Davidson testified to this committee back in March of 2021. I'm going to quote him. I think the threat is manifest during this decade, in fact, in the next 6 years. And he's talking about the Chinese threat to Taiwan. And other officials who have come before the committee since then, including Admiral Aquilino, Undersecretary Call, Deputy Undersecretary Baker, have all agreed with that assessment. Do you agree with that assessment, General?
Senator, as we discussed, in my Indo-PACOM experience, 5.5 years, I was presented with a number of timelines, but they had a consistent theme. They all grew closer. Started in about 2035, 2037, and they continued to grow closer based on China's military acceleration, its economic and diplomatic acceleration, and the ways that they do. So my sense is that plus a directive from the President Xi Jinping to his military to have a capability by this decade. It is in this decade.
Very good. Very good. This decade's the one we need to be concerned with this decade, of course, and beyond, but with this decade. Thanks for that. Given that, what are some of the unique capabilities in your view, including warfighting capabilities, that SOCOM can bring to that pacing challenge, that is the Taiwan challenge? Walk us through your thinking on that.
Senator, my sense is in the Indo-PACOM region, and I speak from my time there, and I will defer to Admiral Aquilino, if confirmed, and get a holistic assessment. But my time there, I saw a number of capabilities that SOF brought. First and foremost was placement, access, and influence. The ability to be in a number of countries throughout that region, training, advising, and assisting, being partnered, real partners and allies and friends with the nations in that region. That then turned into a partner and ally, many of many's capability that has been shown, certainly in Ukraine, to be extremely powerful for not only the U.S. but the Ukrainians and frankly for the world as it fights that type of aggression. The next thing I saw was that the exercises and the training we did in that region consistently with all the forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marines, brought a confidence to that region and also a competence in terms of what they learned as we trained with them, stayed with them, ate, had many discussions, and were just part of the fabric. All of that developed multiple options for the COCOM team, and again, I defer, and I've confirmed I'd like to check with Admiral Aquilino and the Special Ops team. Multiple options that were helpful to the Indo-PACOM team and multiple dilemmas for China. I would also add that China, with its global presence, that if confirmed at SOCOM, I would like to consult with all COCOMs to see if that's the same recipe across the globe.
Let me just pick up on that your last comment there about options. If you're confirmed, General, would you prioritize developing warfighting capabilities for a Taiwan scenario so that the President has multiple options in order to deter China from that in that pacing scenario?
Senator, what I commit to today is the SOCOM team I know is ready with ranges of options for the COCOM commanders at all times. I will commit that if confirmed, I will certainly be with the SOCOM team, examine it closely, but my experience is the SOCOM team is ready and will remain ready, competing, contesting, and developing a range of options if needed for the joint force in high-end conflict, and it does it every day.
Let me ask you this. You've been asked a couple of times already today about balancing the continuing counterterrorism threat and our needs there with the need to deter China in our pacing theater. The 2018 NDS spoke about the need for a resource-sustainable approach to counterterrorism. The 2022 NDS echoes that. Just give us a sense of, if you're confirmed, how you'll seek to develop and implement a resource-sustainable approach to counterterrorism. And I'm going to yield. My time's expired, so I'll yield back for you to answer, and then I'll yield, Mr. Chairman.
Senator, if confirmed, I would start by bringing to the SOCOM team my mindset. And the mindset is that special operations forces are really born for where we are right now in this point in history. The origins of special operations from the 50s to compete, contest, and campaign at that time against the USSR and communism with language, cultural attuneness, speed it through the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. We only got better. We added the Army, Navy, and Air Force, Marines were all added to the soft component. And we learned how to be a valuable and integral part of our Joint Force team at our various training centers. My sense is that still holds. When you take the 20 years of combat, sustained combat, credible forces ours across the entire military, but I speak in my experience for SOF, that are fluent in technology, understand networks. China and Russia have networks, how to attack them, how to dismantle them, and the partners and allies that have been on that journey. When you bring that all together as we go forward in the future, I think I start there, that SOF in many ways was born for this. It has the ability to account as part of the whole of government team and interagency team for the counterterrorism mission while addressing the challenge of China and Russia, competing, contesting, campaigning in many ways, Senator. We never left. In my Indo-PACOM experience, I was doing compete, contest with Chinese in 2016, while my teammates and partners and all of our military were the height of an ISIS fight in Syria. And SOF was there as well. So we have this in our DNA to account for the CT, bring value in that to the nation for in an enduring, sustainable way, but also to be a very integral player for COCOMs and for the department and the whole of government in the campaign against China and Russia. Thanks, sir.
Senator Hawley, thank you.